This Viking is even into level alone, and this level said the baby like Decotos. I like that's nice of his noble to save the baby. That was nice of him. Yeah, and that be my feel. The going if if I do the planet, I just hope I don't go into level alone. That'd be yeah. That'd be oof. That'd be really bad. Yeah. So the link to the video will be distributed below. Go and check them out. So let's into this vaccine. 3, 2, 1.
Usually, the night was unusually quiet in a small apartment
Yeah.
building on the edge of town. Most people were asleep, their lives untouched by anything unusual. But behind one closed door,
Oh.
a man named Galahar paced restlessly. Sweat dripped down his forehead,
Oh. Yeah.
his breathing uneven, and his face twisted with pain. At first glance, anyone would think he was just suffering from food poisoning or maybe kidney stones.
Yeah.
But what no one knew, not his friends, not his coworkers, not even his neighbors, was that Galahar was about to go into labor. A man,
Oh.
carrying a secret so big it could shatter the image of the life he had built, was standing at the
Really?
edge of one of the most terrifying and beautiful moments of his existence. The baby was coming, and he was
Baby,
completely,
we're coming.
utterly alone. Galahar D. Moore was 33, an ordinary man by every
Yeah.
outward appearance. He worked in IT, dressed casually, kept to himself, and was known as polite but private. He lifted weights at the gym, wears manly, and nobody doubted for a second that he was anything but the man he presented himself to be.
Yeah.
But behind the privacy of closed doors, Galahar lived with a truth that only one person had ever known: his former partner, Micah. Galahar was transgender. He had transitioned years ago, living proudly as
Yeah.
a man, taking hormones, building his identity brick by brick. But unlike many, he had chosen to keep one part of himself unchanged: his reproductive system. He had always believed he would never use it, until life threw him
Really?
into a storm he never expected. A
Really?
few years earlier, Galahar had fallen in love with Micah. Their
Micah.
relationship had been everything he hoped for: affection,
Oh. Such a cute couple. Oh. I want that. I want that. I want a boyfriend. Oh.
trust, late-night talks, and the quiet intimacy of two men building a life together. And
Yeah.
yes, their intimacy was real. Through physical closeness, Galahar's body, still capable of carrying life, became the ground for something extraordinary and terrifying. His egg was fertilized through real intercourse. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't science fiction. It was biology, unexpected, rare,
Unexpected.
but possible. When the pregnancy was confirmed,
Like be bothered to listen, expect the unexpected. Mhm.
Galahar thought Micah would be shocked, maybe scared, but eventually supportive. Instead, it
That,
broke everything
that
apart.
does happen.
Micah's face went pale when Galahar told him. He stared silently for what felt like an eternity before finally
Wow.
speaking, his voice low but tense. Galahar, I can't do this. My family will never accept it. Society will never accept it. Two men living together, and now a baby.
What the? What? What? Okay.
They'll never accept it. He
And then what? I said what? I said you go uh becoming a family. Adding a baby. What? What? I think that we accept is two of you sold in a family. Yeah.
leaned closer, eyes sharp, voice final. Listen carefully. You have only two options: end the pregnancy or live as a woman. Galahar's chest tightened, but he
But oh, didn't either gave other mother. Oh, 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 oh.
lifted his head, his voice breaking yet steady with conviction. I can't take the life of this baby. And I can't live as a female. I won't. I can't change who I am,
Yep.
Micah.
Yep.
I have
True.
goals, plans, a life I
Yep.
built as myself. Why should
Yeah.
I throw all that away out of fear of your
Yeah. Why do all of that away because you feel? Yeah. Why? Why? Why?
family or society? Micah's jaw clenched. He shook his head slowly, as if Galahar's words only confirmed his decision. Without another word, he turned, his hand tightening on the door handle. Then you've made your choice, he muttered. Thank you. And just like that, he walked out. Galahar sat frozen, the silence swallowing
Oh.
him whole. His heart ached, but his words still rang true in his mind. He would not kill the baby. He would not stop being who he was, even if
Yep.
it meant doing this all alone. Months passed in silence. Galahar kept his growing belly hidden under baggy clothes, skipping
Yeah. Yeah.
gatherings, lying about back pain when people asked why he looked tired. Every ultrasound appointment was attended in secrecy. Every flutter of movement inside him
Oh. What a cute baby bump.
was experienced without a hand to hold. And yet, he refused to change himself. He wasn't going to abandon his identity
Yeah.
as a man, and he wasn't going to take the life of the child inside him. He had
Yeah.
set goals for himself years ago, to live as who he truly was,
Yeah.
and he
True.
wasn't going to let society's expectations undo
Yeah.
all of it. So he
Yeah.
endured. But as the ninth month approached, his fears
Oh, 9 months. Oh no. You, you need to know. I mean, what happened in the 9 months? The baby comes.
grew heavier than the weight of the baby. Who would be there when the time came? Who would he turn to when the contractions ripped through his
Yeah.
body? The answer, as it turned out, was not who he expected. That night, Galahar woke with stabbing pain in his
Oh.
abdomen. At first, he tried to convince himself it was false labor. He had read about
Yeah.
Braxton Hicks contractions,
Yeah. To the back in.
but when his breaths grew shallow and the sheets beneath him dampened with fluid, he knew this was it. The baby wasn't waiting. He staggered toward the bathroom,
Yeah.
gripping the door frame as another contraction tore through him. His phone sat on the counter, but his hands shook too much to dial. He thought of calling Micah, but the memory of his last words stopped him. Alone. That was how he had chosen to do this. Alone. But fate had other plans. Just as Galahar collapsed to the floor, muffling his cries into a towel, a soft knock echoed from his door. It was Alara, his neighbor. She was in her late 20s, a nurse who worked night shifts. She had noticed something odd over the past few weeks. Galahar had been quieter, avoiding people more than usual. And
Yeah.
now, she had heard a sound, faint but unmistakable, a cry of pain. When Galahar didn't answer, she pushed the door open, calling his name. What she saw froze her in place. There he was, drenched in sweat, face pale, clutching his stomach in agony. At first, her medical mind thought of appendicitis, maybe a ruptured organ. But then her eyes widened at the unmistakable truth. He was in labor. Galahar,
Yeah. It was in that lab. One no pushing through. Yeah.
what's happening? Alara gasped, kneeling beside him. Tears filled his eyes as he whispered the secret he had kept hidden for years. He told her everything, in broken gasps between contractions. His identity, the pregnancy, Micah's betrayal, the decision to carry the child alone. For a
Mm.
moment, Alara was speechless. She had studied countless medical cases, but nothing prepared her for this. Yet instinct took over. She grabbed towels, boiled water, and called emergency services, her hands moving quickly while her mind raced. But the contractions were already close
Oh. Wait.
together. The baby wasn't waiting for an ambulance.
Nope.
Minutes felt like hours. Galahar screamed through clenched teeth, gripping Alara's hand with a strength that nearly broke it. His body trembled with exhaustion, fear, and determination. And then, the sound came. A sharp, beautiful cry filled the apartment. The baby was here. Alara wrapped the newborn in a
Oh. What a cute baby.
blanket,
Oh.
tears streaming down her face. She handed the tiny life to Galahar, who cradled the child against his chest, his breath ragged but full of relief. He had done it. Against
Yeah.
every odd, against judgment, against loneliness, he had brought his child into the world. Hours later, in the hospital, Galahar lay in bed, his newborn beside him. The door creaked open, and there stood Micah. He had come, perhaps out of guilt, perhaps curiosity. Galahar, he said softly, I'll take you back, but only if you live as a woman. Only if you let me tell my family that this baby came the normal way.
The
Galahar
number
stared at
way,
him,
yeah.
his chest tightening. For a moment, he thought of everything, the years together, the laughter, the shared dreams. But
Yeah.
then he looked at his baby, the tiny fingers curling around his own, and he knew his answer. No, Micah, this is who I am. This is who we are. If you can't accept that, then goodbye. It was the last time he saw him. From that day forward, Galahar became both father and mother, protector and nurturer. He carried his
Wow.
child with pride, never once hiding the truth from himself again. Alara remained by his side, helping in ways he never expected, doctor visits, sleepless nights, words of encouragement. She never judged, never questioned. She just
That,
supported.
that's
Society
good.
might have whispered.
Yeah.
People might have stared. But Galahar had made peace with it. He
Yeah.
had chosen authenticity over fear, life over
That,
shame,
that,
and his
that's good.
child over a love that demanded he be someone else. This
Yeah.
tale is not just about a medical mystery. It's about courage, identity, and the choices that define
Yeah.
us. Galahar's story reminds us that sometimes the most extraordinary strength is found in refusing to compromise who you are,
True. True that. That's 100% true. Yeah.
even when it costs you love, comfort,
Yeah.
or acceptance.
Yeah.
And sometimes, family isn't who you expect. Sometimes, it's
Yeah.
the neighbor who knocks at the right moment. Sometimes, it's the baby who arrives when you least expect it.
Yeah.
So the next time you hear about a situation that seems impossible, remember Galahar. Remember
Yeah.
the man who went into labor alone, and the neighbor who helped bring his baby safely into the world.
Oh. That was even into level alone in his nervous the baby, but that goes toss. The link to the video will be in the description below. Go and check them out and drop a like if you like. And comment below if you want to see more reaction like this one. And subscribe if you're new and click the bell so you can be notified for a minute vlog in my bye. Wow.